We're good. We're live.
Okay, we ready? Okay, this is David Rizzo with Rogers Gardens, and today it's what we're planting for May. So the spring has been interesting. We've had a lot of cooler weather, a little bit of warm, cooler. So we're going to bounce back and forth. But one thing that's really good going into May that I've been watching is the nighttime temperatures are finally starting to come up. So this week we're supposed to be pretty warm. So when they go from 40s to 50s, and now that we're getting close to like mid 50s to 55, it's a great time of year to plant. You know, you got to watch though too certain fungal problems, and I'll go over that a little bit with roses if we have sort of drizzly mornings. But the main thing that I like this time of year, we're starting to hit closer to 55 at night, and we're breaking into the 70s. Like I think on next Friday we're supposed to be like in the 80s in some areas of Southern California. So yeah, and so but this is a talk that we'll answer the questions last. This is a talk what to do for May, and so I go through it a lot. I tend to pick a lot of varieties that I sort of like that you guys might not know about, and so yeah, and so let's start. So first one, tomatoes. And so tomatoes, I start planting them. I don't want to plant them late. I usually always try to get them in the ground around mid to late April or even earlier if the weather pertains. But the one thing with it is get them in the ground, especially the heirlooms, because you don't want to wait, because if you wait any longer and you're into later into May or June, you're going to not be harvesting them until August. So that's one thing. And I always pull just a few of the varieties that I like. I like Cherokee Purple. Cherokee Purple is one of my favorites. Big slicing heirloom. I do like Big Beef for just an all-purpose slicer. It's a hybrid, but this variety's been around for a while, but it's a good BLT tomato. You got Romas. I always will put Romas in. I love making salsa, so Roma is your salsa tomato. Sun Gold Cherry. This is one of the top gold cherry tomatoes, and they're very vigorous. So when you do use them, I didn't bring any of them up, but what I usually do is I like to put them in a cage. I always will cage them. If they get a lot taller than the cage, I'll just take one of the bamboo stakes. I'll stake them with like a this is a little shorter, but I do usually try to stake them with a 7-foot bamboo stake. And I like the soft tie stuff. Let's see where I put the soft tie. This stuff works great. I love this. So soft ties. So it's a wire with plastic over it, and it's a soft tie. Love using this on stuff. So that's with the tomatoes, and we're getting more heirlooms, getting them, so plant them. Now plant them and fertilize them too. I always will go through and use the all-purpose, the tomato. This is really the tomato, even though they call it all-purpose, this is a high calcium fertilizer. So I love the down-to-earth stuff, because down-to-earth stuff, organic and really good quality. That's one thing I see sometimes with the other organic companies. They will put a lot of filler, like they'll put a bunch of feather meal, or they'll put a bunch of alfalfa. Fish meal, fish bone meal, high calcium, good fertilizer, all your vegetables, peppers, zucchinis, tomatoes, eggplant, tomatillos. So a good one to use. Love using it. So that's pretty much it for tomatoes, but just plant them. Now it's time to plant them. And what I do is I'll pinch off the flowers. I won't let them set flowers until they're about 4 feet tall. So that's one thing important with them. Once they start flowering and setting fruit and they're about 4 feet tall, 5 feet tall, I don't feed them anymore, because they have enough food to carry in, because I want the fruit to hold better when I harvest it. So that's with tomatoes. And if you do have a problem with caterpillars on them, you can use BT. BT is a really good organic. I spot spray them. And so sometimes if the caterpillars show up, especially the hornworms, once a month, once in June, once in July, once in August, I might light spray them with BT, okay? And so that's tomatoes. So peppers, we're getting in a ton of peppers right now. So peppers, we're going through Peppermania week. So if you guys come in, we have a ton of hot peppers. We have sweet peppers, we have bells. And so I just brought a few of them up. So this is Fresno. Fresno is a good salsa pepper. I'm going to put this down here so I don't knock this over. Chili Diablos are hot, but one thing I love about Chili Diablos is this is like your taco sauce peppers. So they make these into that really red taco sauce. It's real spicy, but the flavor on it's so good. So I love that. One of my favorite peppers, I love ancho poblanos. I love stuffing them. I love roasting them. This is your Chile Rellenos pepper. They will get pretty tall, so you stake them with about a 3-foot stake. And the one thing I've always noticed with peppers, most of the hot peppers, they're not heavy feeders, but when you get into like bell peppers, like some of the YOLO Wonders and all the different varieties of bell peppers, you got to really feed them to get them to produce. So sometimes I'll use the all-purpose. I'll use the compost tea. I like using the Malibu. I don't know if you guys ever use this, but I like making my own compost tea, and I steep it in a 5-gallon bucket. It's Malibu compost that they put in a tea bag, and you steep and you get the nutrients out of it. And when you water it in about every 2 to 3 weeks, and it just gives them a little boost. But hot peppers, you don't have to feed them. I mean, you feed them, but sometimes with bell peppers, I want them to produce, so sometimes I'll feed them once a month. Regular hot peppers, I feed every 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm always fertilizing at least 3 times. But with bells, I might hit them about 4 times, with the down-to-earth all-purpose, and then some liquid compost tea. Yeah. And so another one that I like, even though they're little guys, is I like the Serrano peppers. Serranos are really good. Now, some of the hot peppers that don't get as tall, like with Serranos and with Poblanos, I don't pinch the new growth. But some of them that I want to get bushy, like bell peppers and even these Fresnos, what I can do is I take and I literally will pinch out the new growth. I'll just pinch it off, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it to branch. And so if I get more branching, I'm going to get more fruit off it. So some varieties can grow straight. I don't touch those as much, but if I want to get a shorter pepper, more stockier, I do that with shishitos, I do that with bell peppers, and anything that's going to branch more. And when you space them, give them a little room. Put them a little farther apart. When you crowd them, you might not get as many peppers, because see how this is getting good branching off it? You'll get a lot of fruit and flowers off this branching. So if you crowd them, they're only going to get on the top. So that's another thing with peppers. So that's with peppers. So fertilize them, and you do want to give them a little Epsom salts, because they do like magnesium. So that's with peppers. Other stuff I'm going to start planting right now. Corn's time to plant right now. This is the sweet yellow corn. When you do plant corn, plant it in blocks. Put it about 12 to 14 inches apart. Put one here, like a square pattern. Don't crowd the corn, because what will happen is when it produces its ears, the pollen from the silks have to drop down to those silks. And so if you have too many leaves, it's going to catch it, and you're not going to get full ears of corn with the kernels. So, corn is a pretty heavy feeder. I will side dress with the compost every 2 weeks after I plant it. I'll feed it with a regular fertilizer. So corn, very heavy feeders. So that's why a lot of sun, give it room. And and so if you like corn, usually get about 1 to 2 ears per stalk, but definitely plant it in box pattern. So corn, heavy feeder, a lot of water. I didn't bring up a lot of squash. We're sort of low on squash, but now's the time to do all your zucchinis. Do your spaghetti squash, do your scallop squash, your green zucchini, your gold zucchini, all of it. You want to plant it now. It's going to come up quick. If you do have a problem with mildew, because fuzzy leaves, I'm trying a new spray right now, and it's called RX, like the Bee Safe. And this is a new product that I'm going to experiment with. It's based off of oil, so it has sesame oil in it. It has soy, it has mecadinin, and so I'm going to be trying this. We're going away from a few of the other products, so I'm going to test this. We'll see how the sesame oil works. It says it will work as a fungicide and a miticide, and so, but I'm going to try it. It's more oil, so I'll give this one a try with the mildew, because we're with the damper mornings and the cooler mornings that are sort of drizzly. That's where the mildew starts, especially on some of the zucchinis. Another thing too, I'll talk about seeds in a minute, but if you can't find certain varieties of vegetables at the nurseries, plant seeds. We always have a good selection of seeds. I don't wait, because some of these seeds are so fast to grow, to take off and grow. Like I'll go through seeds in a minute when I'm done. So another thing too, going back into the vegetables, you still have a chance to do lettuce right now. Still plant your lettuce. We've been a little cooler in the morning, so lettuce should go good. If you're near the coast, sometimes you should be able to do it into June or July, but hotter areas, usually about this month is like the cutoff, but I will try to slip in some crops right now to get a harvest off it. So lettuce, Romaine seems to be a little hardier towards hotter weather and some of the Batavia lettuces, so you might try those. But sometimes by the time we hit about 75, 80, it's just going to get it to bolt. And that's the same thing with arugula. That's the same with a lot of the winter vegetables. So we're finishing up on a lot of that stuff and moving into the summer stuff. Another thing that I really like planting, even though we're running a little late, I still will put strawberries in. Seascape is my favorite strawberries. Plant them about 12 inches apart, fertilize them really good, water them really good, and love the Seascape. Seascape is an everbearing type, and I love the Seascape. So Seascapes, I'll continue to plant. I'm sort of low on eggplant. Plant eggplant right now. You want to do your beans right now. So everything, we're a little low on some stuff, but I'll do all the different varieties of eggplant. I'll do the Black Beauty I like. I'll do some of the Millionaire eggplant. I'll do some of the Casper, all of them. But I like eggplant for different cooking. So some of the skinnier eggplant, you can roast them more. You can use them on the barbecue, and that's really good. So yeah, so that's with the veggies. So now it's time to plant. Let's go over seeds a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about some of the varieties that you can do that I do a lot. If I can't find plants, I like to use the peat pots, right? These little peat pots. I'll put 1 or 2 seeds in each one. Seeds that I'll plant, that if I can't find them, the Waltham butternut squash. This is a good one. You take the little peat pot, put 1 seed in this little peat pot, let it grow for about, they'll germinate in about 7 days. Let them grow in this little pot for 2 weeks, plant it in the ground. Another one that I like are the trailing zucchini, like the spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash are so good when you saute it. Oh, I love spaghetti squash. So that's a really quick one too. And most of these are about 75, 80 days. You got the green zucchini. This is my favorite green zucchini, Black Beauty. I'll do that again if I can't find them. 1 seed in these little peat pots, and so that's a good one. Peppers, if I can't find the peppers, like some of the bells, we're pretty stocked on bells right now, but we've had a hard time getting banana peppers. So I'll do banana peppers in containers. But you know what I like to do, since peppers are smaller, I like the little jiffy strips that are the small. The peppers I'm not going to keep in these trays for that long, and they don't have as big a root system, so I'm going to put them in the little trays and put 1 or 2 seeds in each one with a good soil, and then let it germinate. And once they're about 3 to 4 weeks old, they go out in the garden. Now, if you have a problem with snails and slugs, especially if you're doing seedlings and the seedlings are really young, we're going to be in that period where we're getting a lot of snails with all the dampness. I like the regular Sluggo. Now, one of the biggest things, reason why I use Sluggo with edible gardens and with anybody that has pets or animals, this is an iron-based slug bait. It's not methaldehyde. So this is an iron phosphate. Iron phosphate just breaks down into iron in your garden. The plants take it up. It's safe for you. It's safe for your dogs. Safe for the kids. It's a non-methaldehyde. So Sluggo is a good one, and it's just pelleted. So you just sprinkle it around the garden. If you have slugs and snails really bad, do it about once a week. If you don't have them that bad, maybe every 2 weeks. I put a little here, a little there. Sluggo Plus is more for pill bugs and earwigs, so that would be the big difference. But you don't need big cans, and you don't need to do so much, but little amounts. It's little pellets. So good to use if you have slugs and snails attacking the basil, attacking the peppers. Like I had a customer where they mauled her zucchini, so just watch for them, because with all the rain we had this year, they're going to be out. So moving on. So there are other plants, other stuff I do from seeds, the tomatoes. So sometimes if I can't find certain cherry tomatoes, I have Sweetie, which is a good one I like, a little cherry tomato that's really flavorful, and I love the chocolate cherries. That's a good one too. Tomatillos, can't find tomatillos, Toma Verde. You know, this is one of my favorites. I love the green chili sauce. Green zebra, I plant them from seed. If I can't find them, you know, it's one of my favorite heirlooms. Going into some of the cucumbers, I have the Armenian cucumbers you can do from seeds. Then I'll do the little pot like this, 1 seed per pot. The Tasty Green, which is a really good Japanese cucumber. With Japanese cucumbers, they tend to climb more, so give them a taller trellis because they climb a little taller. Haven't seen lemon cucumbers, which is a good heirloom. And again, if I can't find these, buy a pack of seeds, and I'll do 1 in each pot, and I might do about 4 little pots. keep them in here for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then plant them in the ground. You can plant the whole pot, but I always take it out because sometimes it's sort of compressed and it doesn't break down, where most of them you usually plant the whole thing, but I still take them out of these. It's just, you know, what I... let's talk about beans really quick, and then we'll go move on to herbs. So if you can't find the beans, again, French fillet bean. I like the bush beans, so this doesn't really have a name, it's just French fillet, but there's some good ones out here. This is an Italian pole bean that's really good, purple. Good string bean, the Kentucky Wonder. I don't know if I'm putting my name over or putting my fingers over the thing, but I love this variety. When you do anything that gets tall, what I usually do, let me see where I put everything. Oh, here we go. So sometimes I'll take 2 stakes. So if I don't really have to get elaborate with trellises, and I'm the gardener where I don't like building permanent structures, but if I don't have a trellis for the pole beans or the cucumbers, I'll take 2 bamboo stakes, put them about 4 or 5 feet apart, hammer them in the ground about a foot, and then I take bird netting. I just take the regular bird netting, and I don't even cut it. I fold it up and I use zip ties, and then I make it tight, and I plant the pole beans and the taller cucumbers right at the bottom, and they climb it. So I keep stuff very simple, but I always like to change my garden out, so I don't like to build a lot of big permanent structures, because next year I might be doing something totally else. So that's with vegetables. And another one, don't forget to plant your sunflowers. So these are your edible sunflowers. This is a dwarf one right here, actually. These are dwarfs, but I guess I didn't bring any of the other ones. Let's see. I didn't bring any of the other ones up, but when you look at the varieties that you're going to harvest for sunflower seeds, there's one called Gray Stripe or Mammoth. Those are the 2 tall. They only produce 1 head for sunflowers. So now's the time to plant those, seeds or plants. So I'll get those going. Moving into herbs. Basil. Basil's starting to come in finally. It's been a little tough with the cooler nights. But basil should start taking off as we get warmer. Really watch it for the snails and slugs. We're a little low on basil right now, but usually we'll get sweet basil, we'll get Thai basil, we'll get lemon, Mrs. Burns lemon basil, we'll get Tulsi basil, all of them. But now's the time to plant them as we warm up more at night. So even if we're cooler at night, sometimes I'll cover them. I'll take an empty container or any little bowl, I'll cover them to build the heat at night. So that's the basil. So the basil's coming in. I did bring up some of the little, this is the Greek basil. This is a good one to use. Some of the basils can be more spicy, but I love using fresh basil. Love making pesto. So I have the Italian sweet. Again, if I can't find the plants, buy the seeds, the Genovese seed. Another one that I really like, and we sometimes get plants later, it's called Emerald Towers. This was a good one. This was a really good pesto basil, so like that. Other stuff, if you don't see the seeds, Moroccan cilantro I want to try. This time of year with cilantro, it's gonna bolt really quick as we get hotter. So what I do, I'll do seeds or plants, and once it bolts, rip it out. But I cut it a lot. Don't let it get tall. Fennel, if you can't find fennel, the Finicchio, the bulbing fennel is really good. So that's with those seeds. And then we're getting all of our herbs in. Borage or borage, this is a good one. This is an edible flower. This is the blue one. We finally got the blue one in. I'm getting the bay leaves in. Got little bay leaves, so the bay leaf is good. One of my favorite, even though I don't know what happened to the label, this is sweet basil. Sweet basil is so good. You can use this, if flour is great, you can use this in oils, you can cook with it. This is one of my favorite lavenders, but it can get really big. You know, the sweet basils can get about 4 to 6 feet tall. One thing you always want to do with basil, or not basil, with lavender, put it in a lot of sun. Try not to water it too much, and even when they're really tall, this might seem a little brutal, but here we go. Here we go, Sabrina. I will always cut them back when I plant them. And the reason why I'm doing this, it seems pretty brutal. I know, I'm going to get some flack about this. But the reason why I like to cut them back is because I want them to fill out more. If the growers have them really long, they're going to bloom in another 3 weeks, but I do like to do this with basil because it encourages more side branching full, not stretching. So love to give them a little haircut. to just clean them up and get them to branch more. One of my favorite pruners, Felco 310. So if you like them, they're florist pruners, but they're stainless steel. I love them because they're light and I can put them in my back pocket. So good little pruners. And so moving on with more herbies. So lemon verbena is coming in. Love the flavor of lemons. Lemon verbena will help keep mosquitoes away too. So love the lemon verbena. Keep it small. Don't let it get tall because it can get about 6 feet tall. The Italian basil, or not Italian basil, but the Italian parsley. This is your cooking parsley. So love using the Italian parsley. With the Italian parsley, the one thing I'll backtrack on is sometimes they don't like a lot of sun or heat. So put them in a little bit of shade. Sometimes I'll put it near my apple tree so they last better. Lemon balm, I'm getting some good lemon balm in. So lemon balm's coming in. I finally am getting good shipments of French tarragon. So French tarragon's coming in. We finally got a shipment of the French sorrel. Really keep it watered. Really keep it watered. Trim on it a lot so it doesn't really get leggy, but keep it well watered. We're getting in the variegated lemon thyme. There's a lot of different varieties of thyme, and as we get hotter, we'll get more. English thyme is your regular cooking thyme, but the lemon I like. The variegated lemon, it looks great too in like a rose garden, but you can use this for drinks. It's lemon flavor, so that's a good one. One of my favorite oreganos. We're getting in our the Italian oregano, but I love the Mexican oregano. This is so flavorful. I put it on pizzas a lot, so one of my favorite oreganos. Love Mexican oregano. It's so flavorful. Favorite type of rosemary for cooking and for roasting stuff. Love Spice Island. Spice Island is a good one. I love roasting potatoes, and I love rosemary to put in there. I'll put a couple bell peppers chopped up. I put the rosemary in there, but smell that smell, Sabrina. Smell. It smells so good. But I love fresh rosemary. There's other herbs that I don't know where I did with, but you can do a lot of herbs right now. So chives you plant right now. You can do hyacinths. You can do all the sages. We're really low on the sages, but the narrow leaf sages like the Chef's Choice and the Garden Gray are good to plant right now. The lemongrass is good to plant right now. All of them. So garlic chives, onion chives, all of them. Plant them in now because most herbs in general are pretty easy to grow. As long as they have drainage. I like to get them in more sun. I've had a lot of questions lately on herbs that will they take partial sun? They will, but they thrive better outside in more sun, good drainage, containers, wherever, find a medium-sized pot that's 12 or 15 inches, it's 8 inches deep. I always use good potting soils. That's the one thing that people go wrong with herbs. They put herbs in little tiny pots and they wonder why they don't last. You want a bigger pot, deeper, you put 3 or 4 in there. I like the Malibu potting soil because it drains. Herbs, a lot of them don't like to be overly wet. They want regular water, but if they get too much water, they rot. So that's, one thing with herbs. So that's, with herbs, another thing that I want to go over before we go out of the herbs and the vegetables is root crops. Now is the time, and a lot of people don't realize this, you want to put these in before it gets too hot. So all your root crops, like your carrots and your beets and your radishes. And so I don't like to get plants. Plants always have twisted roots, so don't buy color packs, buy seeds of all your root crops. And that holds true for parsnips, carrots, beets, and radishes. But some of my favorite carrots I brought up, the Carnival Blend, the Danivers are good. But the one thing that we fight, you gotta really watch. With these taller, longer varieties, they work good in raised beds. But if you don't have deep soil, they can split or they'll fork on you. That's why most of the time, even when I had my community garden years ago in Costa Mesa, I like the wider, shorter carrots, like the red cord chutney. I did so good with. They're a short, stubbier carrot, but they can take the heavier soil. And even the little 8-ball carrots, they can take the heavier soil. So fresh carrots are so good. Another one that I like are the little French carrots, like the little fingers. Great to plant. They're sort of slow to germinate, so you got to keep the soil really wet until they germinate. And I usually sprinkle the seeds really light. Don't do too heavy. And carrots don't over fertilize them. That's the main thing. You as long as the soil drains. You can give them a little organic fertilizer, but don't do the manures too high, because sometimes if you overfeed them, you get all top and no carrots. So that's with carrots. So plant them right now. Plant them before it gets hot. Beets are the same way. I do the Detroit Red, favorite carrot. I love the gold beets. These are touchstones. There's Early Wonder. All of them. Beets are pretty quick. They're still slow to germinate, but they can produce a beet in about 70 days. You can use the tops too. You can saute the tops on them. They're really good. So love beets. Radishes I like the ones that aren't so spicy. So I like the French breakfast. Now these are very quick. Radishes will produce in 28 days. That seems a little fast, but I don't know about 28, but more or less like about 35, 40 in our climate for germination, for growing. But radishes are very quick, and these aren't spicy. So I love the French breakfast. And so that finishes off with the vegetables. And so let's move into the flowers. So I'm going to move this tray really quick, because this is a lot of the perennial stuff on here. We're going to go through the annual stuff, and then we will keep going on. Sabrina, how's the time?
About 10 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to have to really get moving here.
We can do a little bit longer.
But anyway, so this time of year, all the annuals. Right now, it's all the annuals. So I'm doing, I did bring up some really good sunflowers. We got some good sunflower plants. This is the one, the gray stripe. This is your sunflower, the variety that you harvest the sunflowers off. These will get tall, 8 to 10 feet. Put them in a lot of sun. You can stake them lightly, but again, just water them. Sunflowers like a lot of water. Fertilize them good, but get them growing. Plant them and get them growing. Marigolds. I love planting marigolds, because if you do plant marigolds around your tomatoes, this helps keep the caterpillars away, because they smell the marigolds and they're like, oh gosh, these are marigolds. These aren't tomatoes. So it's a good cover. It's a good crop. It's a companion planting, but these are so good to help keep the butterflies, some of the hornworms, moss out of your garden, the sphinx moss. So that's a good one. I got the yellow one, I got the French ones. Getting some good dianthus right now. Got some good dianthus, really good right now. We treat it as a short-lived perennial. Like these, we're getting some good zinnias right now. One of my favorite zinnias, and we've had a hard time getting them, but we got the State Fair. Look at that, State Fair. So State Fair is a really tall variety, and it's a cutting variety. So a lot of the cutting varieties aren't going to be blooming when you buy them in the container. So this is a mixed color flat, and they're going to get about 3 feet. But that's one thing with a lot of your cutting varieties. They'll never be blooming when you buy the plants, but you get nice little starts. Perfect little, not too root bound little plant. Put them about 10 to 12 inches apart. If you're in a windy area, you got to stake them. But we got the cutting flower zinnias. You can do your poppies still right now, California poppies. These will see through your yard and really do good in your yard. I'm getting lobelia right now. There's a bunch of stuff coming in. What else did I grab? I grabbed, there were some other annuals, and I think, I dropped them, so they're pretty mashed up. Hollyhocks. You have a lot of hollyhocks coming in right now, and Santa Barbara daisies, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. So that's with the annuals. Getting in a lot of annuals right now, so plant your annuals. And these are the annuals that are going to go through spring. They might not go all the way through summer, but you're going to get good color through now into about June or July. Now this is my favorite. We are getting all of our perennials. So perennials right now, they're coming into the nursery. So the one thing you want to watch for is May. It's been a little later this year because we're cooler in April, but now we're finally getting all the perennials, and these are for the butterfly plants. And I'll talk more about the 1 gallons, but some of the little perennials I like grabbing. I like the Kufias. These are great for hummingbirds. So I love the Kufias. Don't get that tall. They get about 3 feet tall. The other Kufias, little cigar plants. These are great. I like the brachycones. Swan River daisies are great. One of my favorite plants for hummingbirds too, and we got a good amount of them this year, and they're called agastaches. Smell that. I love the agastaches because they're related to the mint, so they have a good flavor, good scent to them. But love it. They call them hummingbird mint, agastaches. So let's see if you can Agastache. This says blue, but this doesn't really look like a blue variety. It looks more like purple or more of a fuchsia color. But Agastaches are good. They're good. What we got? We're getting penstemons right now. Penstemons, great for the hummingbirds. This variety is called Riding Hood Purple. So getting the Agastaches. One of my newest plants that we've had for about a season now. We had probably about 2 seasons, but everybody thinks it's a Coreopsis, but it's actually a Bidens. Sometimes they say Bidens, sometimes they say Bidens. This one is called Pretty in Pink. Oh, this is a good one. It's sort of a trailer. It will come back year after year. You got to trim the flowers off when they're done. But oh, this Bidens is a good one. So, but they confuse it for Coreopsis. Another one that we're getting in that I'll grab them when I see them. I love Lisianthus. Lisianthus, the Texas bluebells. This is mariachi pink. This should get about 15 inches tall, maybe a little bit taller. But if you're in a windy area, I stake them. But oh, I'll grab the Agastaches. They're so great. We're getting in Pentas right now. The star cluster flower. These are great for summer, especially if you're in the hot areas. You know, these will take all the way into the hundreds. So great little perennial that's good. Some other little plants we treat as sort of semi-perennials. Like the summer snapdragons, the Angelonias are good to plant right now for color through the summer. I love this one. Here you go, Sabrina. This is a variety that's named after me, Beach Bum. Beach Bum Blue. So this is a dwarf Evolvulus. It's related to the Morning Glory family, but I love these little dwarf varieties because they bloom so good through summer. That's a great one. Containers, ground, wherever. They're hardy little plants. You got some stuff for the shade. We're getting our heliotrope. The heliotropes are coming in. I love the smell of the flowers on these. They smell like vanilla. So good. So heliotrope. One of my favorite Coleuses are coming in. I like the Kong series. So even though the leaves got sort of broken up a little bit, I love the King Kong series or Kong because I love the leaves. Watch them for the slugs, and if they get the slugs, again, sluggo. So that's important with those is a lot of water. Those are shade, morning shade. Let's go through really quick, and we're going to talk about perennials and maybe talk a little bit about roses, and then I think we're going to finish up after that. Bigger plants that we're getting in. We're getting a lot of salvias in. So the hot lip salvias that come in. Hummingbird, great for hummingbirds. I love this purple variety. I don't know this is called Mirage Blue. Oh, look at how vivid the purple is on it. And so this variety is usually not going to get tall. It's like an autumn sage or greggii type. Get about 2 to 3 feet by 3 feet. So wide, bushy. Great for hummingbirds. Love the Garas. The Garas are great for the butterflies. So this is a pink one. This looks like Bellezia dark pink. Love the Garas. This is Bellezia white. Love the white. You don't see the white as much, but they'll get tall about 3-4 feet. More salvias. Like this is Love and Wishes, great variety, sort of smaller, good for hummingbirds. But yeah, all these perennials, like look at the yarrows. The yarrows like the moonshines, and this is Desert Eve terracotta. This is Desert Eve yellow. So the moonshine types are so good. Hey, we got the milkweed. So the milkweed are coming in for the monarchs, and so the monarchs are starting to show up. Actually, no, this is Calilophus. This is Calilophus. I got the milkweed over there, but Calilophus is more of a desert perennial. Great flowers, take a lot of heat though. That's the one thing I like about these is very low and you cut them back in the fall. The Silenes are good too. The little Druids variegata. Love this perennial for a little ground cover for the rose garden. So another thing, let's say, got a few things stashed. I love this plant, even though they're just spring bloomers. I love the Catman. Love the Catman. The Nepeta that you'd put in your garden. This is Picture Perfect. Oh, it's wet, so it's getting me all wet. I can feel the water running down my sleeve. That's not good. And so that's it with some of those perennials. Now, other ones too. Gaillardia. The blanket flowers are coming out. These are more the perennial Gaillardia. These aren't the annual. The annual is more blanket flower, but these are the Gaillardias, and the Gaillardias are good. Got another Bidens, really nice little orange variety. All of these are butterfly. So we got the milkweed in, we got the monarch. So this is your native milkweed. This is for the monarch larvae. So this is your Asclepias fascicularis. It blooms a little white pink flower, but The flower is somewhat insignificant, so it's not going to bloom a lot, but this is the one that we sell, and this is the one that gets about 2 feet tall, and it has a very wide distribution as a native. I mean, it's native all the way up into way northern California, all the way down into Baja, California. So all the way north, all the way down into Mexico. Scabiosas, this one is called Flutter Deep Blue. Love the scabiosas, because scabiosas, the butterflies love these. So great for food. So another variety of my gaillardias that I like, this is Barbican Yellow, but I love that sort of blend. So cool. And another one that I really like is we're getting really good dahlias. Dahlias are like my favorite. I love dahlias. Dahlias are such strong perennials and they'll bloom all summer long. But look at this color. This color, and this is called Lobelia magori, like Fun Rose Bicolor. So great color on these. And even like with this one, it's more like a deeper carmine pink. So we get a lot of mixed colors of this, and these are the smaller ones. These will get about 2 to 3 feet tall, but love them how long they bloom. They'll bloom all the way through summer, and then when it comes into October, November, just cut them all the way back to the ground, and they'll come back next year. But I do like them. Another one, look at this one. I like the color on this one. This one has sort of whites and yellows and pinks. So this is a nice one. Some of them, they don't have the cultivar names on them, but I'm going after them just for the color. So we got in a good shipment of these, and so yeah, so these are nice. But a lot of times if the flower breaks like this one, sort of snap the flower on it, I'll just sort of light clip it down to where the other flower is coming out, and then I'll just go to the foliage. But you got a lot of new ones. They always produce in threes, so you take the middle when it's dry, the sides when they're dry. But nice plants were really healthy. Oh.
UHF is disconnected.
Did it go off? Did the one like?
No, you're good.
I don't know if you guys can still hear me. I think we're still on with it. Okay, cool. Because sometimes the Wi-Fi goes in and out. So what do I want to talk about next? Talk a little bit about real quick. Oh, got to show you the dog toys. Look at the dog toys we carry. Here, it's it. That's an avocado, and this is like a radish. Another thing too that I always like to talk about, I love tools. So stainless steel tools. So these are Terra's Garden. Like the hand rake, I love this for working in fertilizer, raking, digging. So love the stainless steel tools. So come in and look at the Terra Garden. I don't want to drop any, but I love this little hand rake. Terra's Garden. Love these tools. They're made really well. Stainless steel so they don't rust. You can leave them outside. So I like the hand rake for getting out the leaves and raking flat. And this really does work because if you're gardening, you have a lot of spiders and you're worried about the black widows, wear your gloves and use the little hand rakes. That can help you if you have a lot of spiders. Another thing that I want to go through really quick. Oh, we got in good tree roses. Tree roses right now. Tree roses, really, really good. So if you haven't fertilized your roses yet, down to earth, rose fertilizer, extra Epsom salts. Epsom salts I'll use at least 2-3 times a year. Spring, and then summer, and then a little in fall. So use your fertilizers. Like I was saying earlier, we're going to really fight the rust and mildew on the roses with the moisture in the morning. Again, I'm going through and I'm going to try the sesame. Another good one that I'm out of right now is the sulfur sprays. I don't like to use the copper sprays as much when they're leafed out because copper is pretty strong. So a lot of people have been asking me this week. This is what I follow. Copper I use when they're dormant, on fruit trees, on dormant roses, for peach leaf curl on peaches and nectarines, and rust and mildew overwintering on roses. I don't use copper sulfates and copper soaps when it's hot. I don't want to run the chance of burning the leaves. So I'm going to try this. I know a lot of people, the sweet peas are getting it, so I'm going to try this on my sweet peas. We'll see how this works, and I'll let you know next time I see you guys. What else was I going to say? That's about it. I didn't really bring up a lot of blueberries, but if you haven't yet, fertilize your blueberries. It's a good time to feed them right now. I feed them usually about every 6 weeks. They're going to flower. They should be setting their fruit right now. They should be going their fruit. They might be a little slower this year. Usually blueberries ripen around June. we're about a month out. We're about a month later this year, so probably not until more into like the end of June or July. So that's, that's with those. And other than that, citrus. You haven't fed your citrus? I feed every 2 months. Feed them really heavy when they're little. Work it in. The biggest difference with this is this has more minerals in it. Zinc, iron. So this has a little bit more of a trace mineral. So that's important for them. And I think that's about it. If you guys want to ask any questions, any feedback.
Yeah, so I will actually have you guys ask the questions in the comments. We do have to get going for right now, but we do this live stream every first Saturday of the month, so it's going to be on Facebook and Instagram. Please follow us, and then you can always call into the store. I know David's always available for the most part, and all of our horticulture team can answer the questions as well.
Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, come in and see me. I'm here Saturday through Wednesday. Call me, come and see me. Any questions about stuff? Yeah, and so, and like she said, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And thank you for joining today. Happy gardening. And I'm going to get out today and I'm going to plant more tomatoes and work my garden with my worm castings and all my stuff. So now it's time to plant. We'll have drizzly mornings, warmer afternoons, and it's a good time of year to get out and plant. Bye, guys.
Perfect. Bye. Thank you.